what's going on, guys? LFE Worldwide. Thanks for tuning in. Today we're bringing you 6 tips for beginner crappie fishermen. Me personally, I've been fishing for crappie for about 11 months now, so I'm just passing that stage from beginner to intermediate. At least I like to say so myself. So I figured who else would be better than to give beginners some tips than somebody who just left that beginner phase. And these tips aren't in any particular order. They're just 6 tips that I think will help you become a better crappie fisherman. Tip number 1, research. Guys, before you're gonna be able to get on these fish how you want to, you've got to do a little digging, you got to do a little research. Some of the best places that I've gone to find good tips and tricks and info on crappie fishing is Facebook groups. Here are 3 groups that I'm a member of. One is Crappie Fishing Secrets, one is Crappie Fishing Tips and Tricks, and one is Crappie Addicts. These 3 groups have tons of information. You can just scroll through the group and you'll see all kind of questions, and you can build up your knowledge base when it comes to finding and catching these fish. The second place, you're already at it, is YouTube. YouTube is great. There are plenty of content creators out here, plenty of people that you can listen to, watch fish for these crappie, and you learn how to, in turn, pull them on the bank or pull them into the boat for yourself. My 3 favorite crappie fisherman YouTubers are Richard Jean, Flopping Crappie, and Crappie Sniper. Also, one of the best ways that you can get information on how to catch crappie are by talking to experienced fishermen. Sometimes all that means is talking to people in your local Bass Pro. Sometimes that means talking to guys you see out that are fishing next to you. It doesn't hurt to speak, number 1. And hey, just spark up a conversation. Tell them I'm out here trying to catch crappie. You'll know right then and there whether or not they're willing or can provide you some information on how to get on top of these fish. And the best thing about those 3 is all 3 of those are free. You don't have to spend a dime for any of that information. But if you don't mind spending a little money, you can look into Audible books. I found audiobooks on Amazon from John Phillips, and these books are basically narrated by different crappie anglers around the country, and you can listen in and hear on what they're doing to catch them all during the year. So that's another great resource. All right, let's go to number 2. Tip number 2 is going to be the FishBrain app. I'm not affiliated with FishBrain, I'm not a sponsor, but I got to keep it real with you guys. When I'm looking for a new lake, I'm always opening up my FishBrain app. And on this app, you can look and see whether or not people have actually even caught crappie at the lake that you're trying to go to. You can also see what time of year they've gone, what time of year they caught the fish, and sometimes they'll let you know what exactly they were using to catch them. So for new crappie fishermen, I highly suggest that you download that FishBrain app and scout out different lakes, different bodies of water, so you can increase your chances of putting fish on the bank or putting fish in the boat. The number 3 tip is related to tackle. The tackle can be a whole video in itself when it comes to crappie fishing. Tackle basically stands for your rods, your reels, your bait, and anything else that you're using to pull these fish in. So, long story short, guys, when it comes to tackle, take the simple approach when you're starting off. It's really easy to spend a ton of money trying to get every different lure, every different bait you can to catch these fish. My go-to bait when it comes to catching crappie are going to be live minnows. You can also get a minnow trap. You can head up to your local creeks. You can catch creek chubs. And if the size is right, crappie also will hit those creek chubs. And then of course, you've got your plastics. You've got your Bobby Garlands, you got your crappie magnets. You got so many different brands that sell different kind of soft lures that you can fish for with these crappie. Stick to baits that are colored in the actual patterns of the bait fish in your body of water. That's my best suggestion when it comes to bait. When it comes to rods and reels, this is another genre where you can get lost trying to pick out size, heavy, lightweight, all of that jazz. But guess what, guys? Just keep it simple. Get a rod that feels good in your hand. Get a rod that you feel like, is not too heavy. Get you a reel that when you're reeling it in, it just feels smooth. Those 2 tips right there is all you need to know when it comes to rods and reels. I have ACC crappie sticks, I have B&M poles, I have ugly sticks. But the rod that has caught me the most fish so far has been an eagle claw. And this is just a rod that I bought at Walmart. A plain 6'6" rod. It's a medium heavyweight rod. I've got it right here actually. And this setup is what has caught me the most fish. I've got a bobber stopper on my line down here. It's already spooled up. I've got a bobber. I use a small profile bobber. I usually use 2 split shots. And then I have a size 4 to size 6 hook at the bottom. And that's all you need to get on these fish pretty much all year round. Now, when you get into deeper water, 20 foot and under, you don't necessarily want to use a bobber, but the rod doesn't make a difference. The main thing when catching these crappie, you got to locate them, number one. Once you locate them, the rod doesn't matter, you'll pull them up. When it comes to fishing line, I typically go with 6-pound tests. I've also used 4-pound tests. You can go as low as 2 if you want. It's not really a deal breaker one way or the other. If you want to catch more fish in general, catfish, bass, and you don't want to worry about your line snapping, you should go with the 6-pound test. So again, tackle, don't overcomplicate it. I've caught crappie on mono. I've caught crappie on fluorocarbon. The main thing that from what I see when it comes to being a skilled crappie angler is locating the fish. Once you locate them and they're feeding, you don't really have to worry about your tackle too much. So that brings us to our 4th tip. And our 4th tip for a beginner crappie fisherman is location, location, location. You've got to locate these fish. This is not a fish that you can just cast out and, you know, you'll catch a ton just casting anywhere you want to. You got to know where they are during certain seasons of the year. During the spawning season, which in the southeast is usually around February through May, you can find these fish from at about 9 to 1 foot of water. That's when the big guys and girls come in and they're feeding to prepare to spawn, and they're also, the males are keeping anything that comes near their beds off of them. So spawning season is the best time to fish for crappie, the easiest time to catch them. You can throw anything at them almost and you'll bring them in. After the spawn, you got that early summer period. Early summer, I was finding them on grass, but that just depends on the body of water that you're fishing also. Summertime, you want to look for crappie on brush piles. You want to look for crappie on laydowns, timber underwater. You want to find them on standing timber. Summertime crappie can be just as, you know, fun to catch. Not quite as easy as it is during the spawn. You're going to need a boat. You're going to have some kind of boat to get out there, or fishing from a bank spot that you know has some structure. In the summer, I found them from anywhere from about 18 to about 9 foot of water. In the fall, I've had success catching them under piers, like this one here. Here at Black Shoals was where I got introduced to crappie fishing, and guys were pulling them up for about a week and a half to about 2 weeks under this pier right here. When the fall hit, that's when I got my kayak, and I was fishing for crappie deep in the fall, about 20, 30 foot of water, 25, 30 foot of water. I was catching them off the bottom. You can also catch them off laydowns in the fall, in the winter, I should say. So guys, you can have all the equipment in the world, you can have the best electronics in the world, but you got to know how to use it. You got to know how to locate these guys, and you can't get stuck fishing one spot all day. There's plenty of fish out here in these lakes, and location is going to help you get on these fish. All right, so that brings us to our 5th tip. And our 5th tip is something that you can carry anywhere in life, but confidence and consistency is key if you're going to be a better crappie fisherman. There's going to be plenty of days that you go out to fish and you're going to have all the confidence in the world that you're going to catch fish that day, and you'll leave without catching one. It happens, guys. But you have to stay consistent. You have to keep on fishing. Every time you go out, you should be learning something new. If you're not learning something new every time you go out fishing for these crappie, you probably need to tweak some things. You need to go back to that first step, and you need to do some research and build your depth of knowledge just a little bit more. But confidence and consistency is key. All right, guys, so that brings us to tip number 6. And this tip number 6, don't let it frustrate you, don't let it get you down. But in my sincere opinion, if you want to take your crappie fishing to the next level, You're gonna have to get you some kind of vessel, some kind of boat, some kind of kayak, John boat. Doesn't have to be the most expensive, but you're gonna have to get out there on that water, because after the spawn season, typically these crappie are gonna move away from these banks, and you need some good electronics and a decent boat and the ability to sit still and able to get on them. But like I said, man, you don't have to worry about having the best tackle. You don't have to have the best rods, the best reels. But eventually, just keep in mind, if you enjoy crappie fishing, you're gonna have to get you some kind of vessel in order to stay on them week in and week out. So that sums it up for today, guys. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Like, comment, and subscribe. If you got any video ideas, please leave it in the comment section. Again, thanks for watching. LFE Worldwide, signing out.